Welcome back to the podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining me today. Really excited to get into this. We're talking about vulnerability today, okay? If you're new to the channel, by the way, my name is Lewis Huckstep. I'm a mindset coach. I generally work with entrepreneurs, but I work with everyday people to help people understand who they authentically are, get clear on their life's purpose, mission, vision, overcome mental and emotional limitations that would stop you from fulfilling that mission and vision and purpose, and create a master plan to help you have clarity of step by step how you're going to get there. That's what I love doing, and hopefully this adds a bit of context to that and a bit of value to that. We're speaking about vulnerability, and the reason I'm doing this, I had a question from a follower of mine. I think they commented or sent me a message around, do you have any? What can you help me to be more vulnerable with my partner? Was the question, and it was a great question. But I generally will respond to that with a voice message, or I'll send them a podcast. And I didn't have a podcast on it. I was actually quite surprised. So here I am, and let's go through it. So this podcast, what I'd love to do is to get you to understand what is vulnerability, the purpose of it, the power of it, and then how can you start to incorporate a little bit more vulnerability into your life to improve your connection with yourself, with your friends, with your family, with your intimate partner, with your employees, with your business, whatever, I guess, areas of life that are important to you. So first of all, what is vulnerability? I'm literally was just doing a live video on Instagram. I'm actually still doing this as I do this podcast. And someone asked that question, what is vulnerability? What's my definition of it? And it was a really good question. And my answer to that is I want you to think about when you were a kid, when you were younger, and you felt safe, you were in a safe environment, or you just felt safe to be truly authentic, truly yourself, the weird, funny, silly, smelly, gross, quirky, weird version of you. And we all have that. It's our inner child, right? You were fully authentic then. You're fully present. You were fully yourself. But as you go through life and you have teachers or parents or friends or partners, boyfriends, girlfriends, and they hurt you for doing certain things, saying you can't do that. You can't be like that. Who do you think you are? That's stupid. That's silly. You sound like shit. Your voice is horrible. You smell. You can't do that here. You get given all these beliefs and stories, and that shapes the identity of who we think we need to be good enough. In other terms, you've probably heard this term, your ego. That's what the ego is. Because I think it's Wayne Dyer, but I'm sure other people say this as well, but a lot of people say that we are human beings and we have spiritual experiences. I believe the other way around. I believe we are spiritual beings on this planet Earth having a human experience, because we are at our core, at our soul, when you were that younger kid, or just whenever you're being fully present and fully authentic now, is when you're living, breathing, speaking from your spirit, from your soul, you are real, you're honest, you're authentic, you're vulnerable, you're not scared to admit your weaknesses and admit those things that you're not so good at, or you don't know what you're doing, or you need a little bit of help, or you're struggling here or there. But because as we go through life, through childhood, teenagehood, adulthood, and we get given these beliefs and these, feedback from, again, parents, teachers, mentors, society, whatever, religion, of who we need to be, in quotations, to be good enough to be loved. And that might be the amount of money you have in your bank account. Might be the clothes that you wear. Might be the car that you drive. Might be the house that you live in, the partner that you have, the body that you have. You get given all these beliefs of who you need to be to receive love or to be good enough. And I guess going back to the point of the question, what is my definition of vulnerability? It's when you remove the ego. It's when you, like some people call it the ego death, or they throw that term around. You never kill the ego. The ego is always going to be there. It's just, there's benefits to the ego, but we're going to another topic. But the ego will always be there. It serves a purpose. There's benefits to the ego. But when you're able to be conscious enough and let the walls down and allow that authentic self, just like when you were a child, when that authentic self shines through, that's what vulnerability is to me. And that's how I define it, and that's how I look at it. So anyways, so that's what vulnerability is. Now, I was at a Kerwin Rae event. I mention Kerwin Rae all the time. So Kerwin, if you're watching this, I fucking love you, man. Thank you for everything you've done for me. So I was at Kerwin's event. It's called Nail It and Scale It. It's a really good business event. Anyone here that wants to, I guess, work on business, it's a really good event. I would highly recommend go checking it out. And I got once you attend the event, you're allowed a crew in the back end of it. And so you can pretty much run the event from the back end, which is really cool. Got to learn how high performance teams were, how to connect with people, etc., etc. And there's a lot of vulnerability there. There was a lot of heart to heart opening up to people. And I remember a line from Marie. So Marie was, I'm not sure if Marie is still with Cohen, and she just said this line and it stuck with me. I've always remembered it. Vulnerability is the pathway to connection. So if you genuinely want intimate relationships or connections with your partner, your intimate partner, your family, your friends, your employees, anyone that you engage with, your followers, if you try to perceive or come across a way that's perfect, which is your ego speaking, I'm always good, I know what I'm doing, I have no problems, I'm always successful. Bullshit. That's just your ego speaking. I'm super insecure in some areas of my life. I still get a little bit of anxiety show up in social settings. And for people that see me online or you're watching this podcast, oh my God, he seems so confident. I'm very unconfident when it comes to some things in my life. If you were to throw me on stage to sing a song or to dance in front of a crowd, I would shit my pants. That is like my version of hell. But if you were to give me a microphone to speak and to coach and to share wisdom, my version of wisdom, then I would love it. I'll feel super confident. This podcast right now, I love what I'm doing. I'm super confident. I'm authentic with what I'm doing. So by being able to just, I guess, show your wounds, and not necessarily just your wounds, but to show your weaknesses. Another example, I actually got this from Kerwin himself. A great version or a great analogy of vulnerability, it's your ability to go up to someone and to pull up your shirt and show them the weakest parts of your stomach, warts and all, and say, here are my weaknesses. Can I see yours? And I guess the ability to do that with your friends, family, employees, colleagues, etc., anyone that you want to build an intimate relationship with, it allows them to drop their walls as well. Because think of this, if you're a business owner, just whatever position you're in, with all the relationships that you have, if you're always trying to be perfect, show how successful you are, always look dressed to the nines, and there's nothing wrong with dressing well, by the way, but some people do have, I guess, challenges looking poorly, or looking poor, or just having weaknesses. So they try to present that through clothes. That's why I keep mentioning clothes, but there's nothing wrong with dressing nicely, just so you know. But I guess the ability to be honest and vulnerable and say, look, I've got weaknesses just like you. Or I've got weaknesses, here are mine. Can I see yours? If you do the opposite of that and you're always trying to be perfect, you're always trying to be strong, you're always trying to never show weakness, you're always trying to show that you know everything and you know what you're doing and you're perfect in quotations, and you are perfect, but we've all got challenges. Perfect is, I define that differently. But being able to just show who you are and show your weaknesses allows and invites other people to do the same. So especially if you're in some form of leadership position, and that might be with your kids, might be with your friends, might be with your family. Obviously, if you're running a business, your employees and your staff and your colleagues, is by you being able to sit in a meeting and be like, look, I don't know. Can someone help me? Can you explain that to me? I don't really understand what you're saying. That invites other people to do the same thing. So I would just really want to challenge, I guess, people's general view around vulnerability being weak. I actually concur the other way. I totally disagree that vulnerability is weakness. Vulnerability is true fucking strength, because we all have weaknesses. We all have those wounds. We all have those parts that we don't necessarily like to show to the public. We all have them. And insecurity dissolves with awareness. By shining the spotlight on those darkest areas of your life that you're maybe keeping in a closet, or you're dragging around a bag of shit that you don't want to show other people, it's weighing you down. So to be able to open up that Pandora's box and say, look, here's some shit I've been through. This is who I truly am. Being able to do that to yourself, with yourself and others, it's fucking strength. It allows you to heal, and it invites other people to do it. So I guess that's the way I view vulnerability. And there's a couple, I guess, reasons, I guess, hopefully that you got out of there, a couple takeaways of how it is so powerful and what you can do to start doing that. So I guess what I would like to do to sort of start to wrap this up, this is not going to be a long podcast today, is I would love for you to start to practice this. Because something I live by, I love Jack Delosa, if anyone knows who that is, incredible entrepreneur in Australia, incredible human being across the board. And really, I did a podcast with him. If you want to search Lewis Huckstep, Jack Delosa, great podcast as well. And it's just a line that always sticks to me, that he says, everything in life is a fucking skill. Everything. leadership, vulnerability, communication, sales, marketing, systemizing, training, having an intimate relationship. Just like playing the violin, just like learning to play the piano, just like learning to spell or to write or to type. It's all a skill. Vulnerability is a skill. Some people are born naturally with skills, just like anything. There's people that are born more naturally athletic. There's some people born more naturally, more smarter, have more intellect about them. So some people are naturally born with more, I guess, vulnerability in their arsenal, but every skill can be learned. It's like a fucking muscle. So if you haven't been practicing it for a long time, it's probably very weak. It's like if you don't use it, you lose it. It atrophies and it goes away instead of building and getting stronger. So by practicing to be vulnerable with yourself, with others, with your friends, family, again, whoever the people are in your life, it allows you to strengthen that muscle and get some reps in there. So what I would love for you guys to do is start to practice this. First thing that I would start personally, I guess depending where you're at with your journey with vulnerability and your relationship with vulnerability, is start being vulnerable with yourself. Now you can do that through journaling. You can do that through meditation. You can do that through awareness. You can do that with stillness. You can do that with breath work. You can do that with anything. Spending time and being honest with yourself. Write down like what's something that's something that you want to share that you haven't shared to anyone. Write it down. Journal it down. Start to process it. And this ties into healing wounds and healing traumas, which we won't go into today. But it's just really powerful to do that. And then when you're ready, I'd love for you to take, I guess, the next step from here. Is I would love for you to find first an environment and two, a person or multiple people to which you can share what's been on your mind. Because whatever you suppress, you will express through your life. So if you got some fucking weight on your shoulders, if you got some shit that's been really getting you down, your relationship, your money, your self-love, guilt, frustration, any form of, I guess, negative energy that you're bottling up, if you don't express that, it will explode and it will continue to affect you in those areas of life. So by being able to find an environment and a person or people that you can feel safe to express and be vulnerable to, it's fucking powerful. And that might be someone online. If you're watching this or listening to this right now, send me a message. Connect with me. Go to my Instagram, Lewis Huckstep. Send me a message. I do get back to everyone. It takes me some time. Sometimes it takes me over 2 weeks to get back to people because I've got some things on my plate. But I do get back to everyone. I've had people send me voice messages like, holy shit, I've actually never told anyone that in my life. I said, thank you so much for trusting me and allowing me to be an ear to listen to you. So, and this might transpire into a coach or a therapist or a counselor or something like that, but it is very powerful. So just to summarize that, guys, vulnerability is letting your authentic self shine through the ego that you've created for yourself. It allows you being open, allows other people to be open, which creates further connection. It's the pathway to connection. It allows you to heal through wounds and traumas and pains that you've been through and start to practice it. Whether you just get a journal, pen and paper, write down what's been on your mind, what's really gotten you down, what have you been thinking about, what have you been processing, what are you struggling to let go of right now? And just start to write it down. And then when you feel, I guess, courageous enough or ready to do it to someone. Connect with someone. It might be someone online, might be me. I'd love to connect with you guys. So if you want it to be me, send me a message. I'd love to connect. I'll get back to you. I'll get back to you as fast as I can. Or it might be a friend or a family member or a coach or a therapist or a counselor, just someone. So I hope this helped. I hope this added some value to you guys. If you haven't already, guys, please like the video. I would really appreciate it. It does help with the algorithm. It allows me to connect with more people, reach more people, help more people. If you're interested in working with me, guys, I have services, I have programs, I have podcasts, I have a community group. I have places that I have to help people and touch people. So if you could please share this with one friend, grab this link, send it to someone, whether it's on YouTube or Spotify or Apple Podcasts, whatever platform you're listening to right now. Send this to someone. Allow me to help and touch more people. And thank you for your support. If you want to connect with me, I do offer free discovery calls as well. The link is down below if you want to connect with me there. I love you guys. Thank you for supporting me and allowing me to live my purpose. And go be vulnerable. Go connect with someone. Bye.